Hello my precious friends, I really hope that you're doing great. Welcome to today's class. It's our 14th lesson on a given Form 3 mathematics topic called Commercial Arithmetics 2. So we are looking at our 28th example on income tax. It reads that all employees of global industries pay income tax at the rate shown in the table that follows. Mr. Msumba earns a basic salary of 12,150 shillings and a house allowance of 2,800 shillings per month. Part A of the question, we are told to calculate Mr. Msumba's taxable income in Kenyan pounds per annum. Now notice that in this particular case, the house allowance, this particular employee is not being housed by the employer. Therefore, we say that for us to get the taxable income when the employee is not housed by the employer, we simply take the basic salary, then of course we add the taxable allowances. Therefore, you're going to say that the taxable income for Mr. Musumba will be equal to, we take the basic salary, then of course we add the taxable allowances. We add the taxable allowances plus taxable allowances. So in this case, we are only having one taxable allowance, which is a house allowance. Therefore, basic salary, remember we said basic means it is on monthly basis. So the basic salary was 12,150 shillings. So basic salary is 12,150 shillings, which is being charged per month, then plus the only taxable allowance that we have is a house allowance of 2,800 shillings, 2,800 shillings. Then of course this one is also per month. So you feed this on the calculator, 12,150 plus 2,800. Your calculator will give you a total of 14,950 shillings. Then of course this is on monthly basis or per month. But the question wanted us to get the taxable income in Kenyan pounds. Now we know that 1 Kenyan pound is always equivalent to 20 Kenya shillings. So we'll ask ourselves, what about the Kenya shillings of 14,950 shillings, then of course per month. So to convert into pounds, we are going to say, so this will be equal to, we'll take the Kenya shillings, which is 14,950, which is being paid per month. Then of course you're going to divide with 20 Kenya shillings, then of course multiplied by 1 Kenyan pound. So this is going to give us the following. You take 14,950, then divided by 20, you're going to get 747 and 50 cents. So clearly you can see that the Kenya shillings have cancelled out. So it means that our answer must be in Kenyan pounds per month. So this one is in Kenyan pounds, then of course per month. The question wanted our answer to be in Kenyan pounds per annum. So for us to convert into per annum, remember the word annum simply means on a yearly basis. So this one is strictly for 1 month. So this is for a period of 1 month. Therefore, for a period of 1 year, we know that 1 year is a period equivalent to 12 months. So if this taxable income is in 1 month, what about in 12 months, or what about in a year? So it means our taxable income, the taxable income will be equal to, we'll take the Kenyan pound of 747 and 50 cents. Then of course we multiply by 12. When you multiply by 12, it ceases to be per month and it becomes per year or per annum. So this one is going to give us the Kenyan pound. You take 747 and 50 cents multiplied by 12. Your calculator is gonna give you 8,970 Kenyan pounds per annum. Therefore, this is what we are calling the taxable income in Kenyan pounds per annum. So we are having 8,970 Kenyan pounds per annum as the taxable income. Next, we move to the second aspect, whereby we are now given the table. So this is taxable income per year, then of course in Kenyan pounds. So the first thing is to ensure that your taxable income rhymes with your taxation table. So the table is in Kenyan pounds. This one is in Kenyan pounds, then per annum. If you look at our taxable income, is also in Kenyan pounds per annum. So those two are rhyming, and therefore we can use the two in our calculation. So our taxable income, we got it as Kenyan pounds, which were 89.70. So this is 89.70, then of course per annum. Now, during our taxation, we are going to tax up to where the limit of 89.70 is going to lie. So 89.70 clearly will lie in this particular tax bracket. So we are going to tax up to the second bracket. Then of course the remaining amount will be taxed in the third slab, or what we are calling the third bracket. So let's start with the first slab, or what is called the first bracket. You can call it the first tax bracket or the first slab. So the first one, you simply pick the first amount that is appearing here. That this is 37. This is 37.80. Then you are going to multiply with. Now we need to interpret this second part. So for example, for 2, the 2 is going to pick the first value that we are having here. So this one, the interpretation is that this person is paying a tax. He's paying a tax of 2 Kenya shillings. He's paying a tax of 2 shillings for every 1 Kenyan pound that he's earning. So a tax of 2 shillings is being paid for every 1 Kenyan pound earned. That is what this particular rate means. So the first value that you are given here represents the values that are on this side. So for example, in the first bracket, a tax of 2 shillings is being paid for every Kenyan pound. So a tax of 2 shillings is being paid for every 1 Kenyan pound that is earned. So we're going to ask ourselves, what about here? We are having pounds of 37.80. So what about Kenyan pounds of 37.80? Then remember, whatever is coming from here is rhyming with the table. It is in Kenyan pounds per annum. So this one is in Kenyan pounds. Then of course per annum, this is also money that was earned by that particular employee. So we are going to say that if a tax of 2 shillings is being paid for every 1 Kenyan pound that is being earned, so what about, we'll ask ourselves, what about the Kenyan pound of 37.80 Kenyan pound per annum, which is being earned? So of course, if you do cross multiplication, you'll divide by the 1 Kenyan pound which is being earned. Then of course you multiply by a tax of 2 shillings which is being paid. So clearly you can see that the Kenyan pounds will cancel out. Therefore our answer must remain to be in Kenya shillings, then of course per annum. So it means that whatever we are going to get on this side, it must be in Kenya shillings, then of course per annum. So we are deriving the units from this cross multiplication. So clearly the pounds have cancelled out. So our answer must remain to be in Kenya shillings, then of course per annum. So whatever we get here must be in Kenya shillings per annum. And clearly from our working here, we've seen that we are going to multiply by 2 within our working. So this one will be, we are going to multiply this one by 2. So this will be times 2. Then the answer that we get must be in shillings per annum. So you take that 780 multiplied by 2, your calculator will give you a total of 7,560 shillings per annum. We move to the second bracket, or the second slab. So in the second bracket, to get the value that you're going to use in the second bracket, this is what you're going to do. You simply find the difference between these two amounts. You take 75.60, you subtract with 37.80. So this difference, of course, I'm going to borrow one from here. This will be 4, this is 16, this is 0, then we'll have 8, I'll borrow 1, this is 6, this is 14, this will be 7, then this will be 3. So of course, we're also getting 3780. So we'll have 3780 multiplied by the rate in this particular bracket is actually 3. So remember, the interpretation in this particular case is that a tax of now 3 shillings, a tax of 3 shillings is being paid for every 1 Kenyan pound that is being earned. Every 1 Kenyan pound that is being earned. So what about 3780? So what about 3780, which of course is in Kenyan pounds per annum, that is being earned. So if you do cross multiplication, you just have the Kenyan pound of 3780, then of course per annum, then you divide by 1 Kenyan pound, 1 Kenyan pound which is being earned. Remember that 780 is also being earned, then multiplied by a tax now of 3 shillings. So of course the Kenyan pounds will cancel out. So it means that whatever you're going to remain with must be in shillings per annum, which is what we are having here, shillings per annum. But for this case, you're going to multiply with 3. So we'll have 3780 multiplied by 3, giving us a total of 11,000. So this is 11,340 shillings. Now notice that our taxable income was 8970, which was lying in this particular bracket. So it means that this will be our last bracket. So we'll find the remaining amount. To get the remaining amount, we're going to move to our third bracket or the third slab. So to get the remaining amount, you will take the taxable income, which is 8970. Then you subtract the total amount that is coming immediately before the last bracket. So you subtract 7560. You subtract 7560. Then of course the tax rate in this particular case was 4. So I'm going to multiply this one by 4. Remember, you can also find it this way. You can also take the taxable income, then of course you less the summation of these two amounts, the summation of 3780 plus 3780. So taxable income minus 3780 plus 3780. You're supposed to get the same thing. So taxable income was 8970, then minus 3780 plus 3780. You take 3780, you add to 3780. Of course, this will be 0, 16 carry 1, 15 carry 1. This will be 7. So clearly you can see you are still getting 7560. So you can either pick the amount that was immediately coming before the last bracket, or you can add this value with this other value here so that you're getting 7560. So that's why I'm having 7560 here. So you take 8970 minus 7560. Your calculator is going to give you 14. So you're going to have 1410. This will be 1410. Then of course we are multiplying by 4. 1410 is just the difference between these two. 1410 multiplied by 4. Your calculator is going to give you a total of 5,000. We'll get 5,640 shillings. 5,640 shillings. Therefore, from this particular stage, we can get what we usually call the gross tax or the total tax. Therefore, we are going to have our gross tax or the total tax. So the gross tax, also called the total tax, will be equal to get that, we are going to add this amount to this amount here. So you take 7560 plus 11340 plus 5640. So you feed that on your calculator. Your calculator will give you a total of 24,540 shillings. Then the units will be shillings per annum. So this was in shillings, then of course per annum. Now they wanted us to get the net tax in shillings per month. Therefore we need to convert this one into shillings per month. It is already in shillings, therefore we just need to convert into per month. So this will be equal to, we'll have 24,540. This one is into per annum, so to change into per month, we are going to divide by 12 so that we get our answer into per month. Remember, 12 month is equals to 1 year. Therefore, if you want to get the amount for only 1 month, you're going to take the total per annum, then you divide by the number of months that are in a year, of course, which are 12. So this is gonna give us, you take 24,540 then divided by 12, you're going to get 2,045 shillings. Then of course this is per month. So this is our gross tax or total tax in shillings per month. Now our target was to get the net tax. So we know that net tax, also called the payee, but we say that for payee it must be in shilling, that is in per month. So the net tax of the payee is always given by, you take the gross tax, then minus total relief. Gross tax minus total relief. Of course, in this case, we are only given one relief, which is a family relief of 450 shillings. So this will be equal to, so the gross tax was 2,045 shillings per month, then minus our total relief was 450. Then of course this one is in shillings also per month. So minus 450, which of course is shillings per month. So you take 2045 minus 450. Your calculator is going to give you 1,595. That is shillings per month. Therefore, this is what we are calling the net tax or the payee. Then lastly, we look at part C, whereby you are being told that apart from the income tax, the following deductions are also made from his monthly salary. We had a service charge of 120, loan repayment of 435 and 50 cents, then hospital fund of 255. Determine Mr. Musumba's net monthly income. So to get the net monthly income, we first of all need to have what we call the total deductions. So total deduction is always equal to, you take the payee or the net tax. Net tax is always the first deduction or the payee. Then of course you add other deductions plus other deductions. Other deductions, we talked of the basic, that is the basic deductions, and of course the special deductions. So this will be equal to our net tax or the payee. We got it as 1595 shillings per month. So this is 1595. This is shillings per month, 1595 shillings per month. Then plus the other deductions, we have service charge of 120 shillings. Of course, this is shillings per month because it is monthly. So 120, then plus loan repayment of 435 and 50 cents. Then plus hospital fund of 255 shillings. So you take 1595 plus 120 plus 435 and 50 cents, then plus 255. Your calculator is going to give you a total of 2,405 and 50 cents. Then of course this is shillings per month. So 2405 and 50 cents shillings per month. Therefore, to get the net monthly income or the net monthly salary or the net monthly pay, we are going to have, we simply take the taxable income. You take the taxable income, then of course minus the total deductions, Now notice that our total deduction is in shillings per month. So that means we need a taxable income that is in shillings per month. So if we refer in the very first part, this was our taxable income in shillings per month. It was 14,950 shillings. So this was shillings 14,950. This was shillings per month. That is 14,950. Then total deductions, we've gotten it as being 2,405 and 50 cents. This is also shillings per month. So you get the difference between this particular two, 14,950 minus 2,405.50 cents, your calculator will give you 12,544 and 50 cents. Of course, this is shillings per month. So we have 12,544 and 50 cents. Thank you very much for accompanying me until the end of this particular lesson. I do not take it for granted. In case you're new to this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and also turn on the notification bell so that whenever I upload a new video, you'll get notified. Until next time, this is Kind Tuition Academy. Thank you very much.